What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of NBA to the Galaxy Pod, hosted by yours truly, Slim. You can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter at R2R3011. And you can follow your other host here, Scotty, at Scotty Drown as well. And as you can see by the title, NBA Free Agency Special, one of the best times of the year, exciting times of the year. A lot of things can transpire as we've seen over the past couple of years. So, yeah, man, excited to be here with my guy Scotty. We may have a special guest joining us. Some of you guys may know him from interactions with Scotty or whatnot. But yeah, man, how you doing on this good Sunday, man?
I'm doing good, man. My palms are sweaty. I'm waiting for the big news to arrive, but
Yeah,
I'm feeling good, man. Everything's pointing in the direction of Paul George joining the Sixers. That's really all I'm worried about. But there is obviously other stuff to get into. There's other players out here that are available right now, and we hopefully will get some deals done during the show here to have some real fun with it. But I'm happy to be here with you. It's on a special Sunday evening. It's a little different
yeah,
here right
for
before
sure.
Independence Day week. So it's a big time, man. Big time, big kickoff to the summer and the off season for real. Like we had the NBA draft, but this is
Yeah.
where the off season really starts. This is where teams really start to construct their rosters for next year. So I'm excited, brother. How are you feeling as a Warriors fan going into this evening, my man?
Man, it's like mixed emotions. Different reports just came out before we started the show. Like, I don't know if I should dive into it right now. But it's a lot of things that just happen, man. It's like mixed emotions. Like, I don't know which direction they're going to head in, but it's a lot, man.
Yeah, and obviously, like you said, we'll get into it a little bit deeper. But I mean, Klay Thompson looking like he's not going to return, and to your point, man, that is a significant thing. Like, it doesn't matter what people really think about Klay Thompson, where he's at in his career right now. Like, as far as the
Yeah.
caliber player, it's more about how long he was with the Warriors, the championships they won, the run that they had. So
Yeah.
definitely know that's got to be a little bit more emotional for you going into this situation, just because it's not looking very great on the other side of things either. And so we'll obviously get into that as well. But man, where do you want to start tonight, my man? Obviously, the James Harden news just came out a little bit ago, but I don't know. Where do you want to take this?
Yeah, man, we can start right there. Just I mean, he got a 2-year contract for 70 million. I wonder like how does this favors towards PG? Does this make him want to stay? Because they got Kawhi locked up and they got
Yeah.
some other pieces on the contract like Norman Powell and Zubac and Man. So it's interesting to see, but I don't know, man. From the reports I've been reading, it's like the Clippers not trying to give him like 4 years. Like it's more so like you
Yeah.
see Harden here, he signed a 2-year deal
Yeah.
opposed to like a 4-year or a 3 year. So it's interesting to see like which route this affects Paul George in the sense of like coming back to LA. So, but I feel like it's a arguably overpay for Harden, but like me and you said, it's like if he were to walk, you would just lose him for nothing.
Yeah,
So
they don't have money to go out and replace him, so
yeah,
it's
so
like
it's
you
like
have
one of
to.
those. Yeah, you have to do it. So yeah.
No, I tend to agree with you. It is going to be interesting to see how it plays out for like Paul George and how this implicates on that, right? Like, do they still have money to bring him back? They do because they have his his bird rights, whatever.
Right.
But the problem is that, like you said, he wants that 3-4 year max deal, and the truth is the only team that's really going to give him that is going to compete for a championship next year in reality is probably the 76ers.
Yeah.
So from what I heard from Chris Haynes, I was watching that as much as I could leading up to this show just to learn as much as I could in real time. And basically what he was saying is like the Clippers are so focused on not getting taxed heavily, not going over the apron, that they're not willing to sink themselves for Paul George max 4-year deal. And they're looking at a 2-year window right now, basically. That's what that Harden contract signals. 2 years, let's go compete for a championship with Harden, Kawhi, whoever wants to join the ride here. And so to that point, I think it then comes down to Paul George and how much are you willing to sacrifice to stay in LA with the Clippers and just to stay on the West Coast, right? Because the only two teams that are rumored right now are on the East Coast. It's the Orlando Magic and the Philadelphia 76ers. So
Yeah.
you're either going from the West, you're either staying on the West Coast for a discount with the Clippers, or you're going to the East Coast. And so it's going to really come down to, how much does that West Coast, him being from LA, from that area, how much does that really play into it? His podcasts, all of his branding, all of that stuff. That's tough to move. Like his co-host Jackie, for example,
Yeah.
is an actor, right? Like he's in
Right.
Hollywood. So he's not trying to move from the West Coast over to the East Coast to keep doing his podcast in live time. So these are all things, right? Like that doesn't really matter, but like these are all things that do have to be calculated. Because like Paul George kind of said recently, he does have a focus for after his career and going into broadcasting and commentating and analyzing the game from that standpoint. So you look at it from that standpoint, there are some benefits to maybe taking a little bit of a discount and staying in LA with the Clippers. But if he wants to secure his bag, he wants to kind of finish his career with that max contract with the highest he could get paid, he knows where to go right now, right? So
Yeah.
I do think the Clippers' hands were kind of forced because Harden doesn't need a 4-year max, right? Like he just wanted a 2-year. He was cool with a 2-year deal, and they were able to get that done. So it'll be interesting, man. Because I think I saw the other day, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Russell Westbrook is also leaving, or is that not confirmed? I
So
saw some
yeah,
type of
that
report
was
about that.
so that yeah, so that was a report that came out, but he eventually opted in this past Saturday, I think, or late Friday night. He
So
opted
he
into
did
his
opt in.
contract.
Okay,
So
so
yeah,
Russ,
but
Russ should be there.
yeah. So to your points though, with the Paul George thing, you're absolutely right. But I do feel like as you mentioned, like with his co-host Jackie, like I feel like those things does play a part as far as like him staying in LA because it's
Yeah,
easier said than done. Like he have mentioned numerous of times, like focusing on his career outside of basketball or whatever.
yeah,
And Paul George is like at the top of his game as far as like being in this space of the media or whatnot. Like as an NBA
absolutely.
player, like he's a top podcaster or whatnot. So for him to go from LA to Philly, man, it's
Big
easier said than
change.
done for sure. But
Yeah,
unless it's just like he just want to go out there and get a ring, then it'll all be worth it in the end. I feel like so.
yeah.
Yeah,
It,
but
it's a big change, and it's something that we saw James Harden kind of struggle with. I mean, coming from Houston, where was he before that? He was in Brooklyn, so in New
Brooklyn,
York, right? So coming from these bigger cities than Philadelphia, in a sense, right? It is a little bit of a change. Philadelphia is more of like a blue collar city. It's just completely different from the West Coast. So,
yeah,
um, it is something to think about there, but I do ultimately think money is the root of all motivations, right? Like it's all about making the most money you can, and there's one route that he can take to do that, and I'm really hoping that he takes it. But I guess my question to you, like, what do you think for Paul George? Like, you're looking at the Clippers, you're looking at Orlando. Orlando is interesting. They don't get talked about much, but they are interesting.
yeah.
And you got the 76ers. So like, if you're Paul George, you're looking at these three teams. Where are you leaning? Like, where would you personally lean towards?
I would definitely pick between Philly and Orlando. I feel like those probably his best chance of winning the championship. Like with the Magic, it definitely depends on like what other pieces they add to the roster, like a
Yeah,
KCP or maybe a Clay Thompson or so on and so on. Just
yeah,
depends on other pieces. But him going to Philly, I feel like they can contend in the East. Like obviously, you have to add more pieces around Joel, him and Maxi. But that's one hell of a trio though, for real though. Just
yeah,
those guys they can feed off each other very well. So it'll be interesting. But ultimately, I'll probably go with Philly though, because you got a former MVP and Joel Embiid. He about when he hefty, a young up and coming star in Maxi. So I think that's the best case for him if he were to lead the Clippers at this point anyway. So I just don't see a reason for him to go back to the Clippers. Like we've been through this for the past four,
yeah,
5 years now. It's the same result. So I think it's just best for
yeah.
him to move on at this point. So
I
Philly
do
for sure,
feel that.
man.
I feel
Yeah.
that. It feels like a rerun, like a show that just keeps playing over and over, and you already know how it ends. Like
Yeah.
you just try something new and make more money doing it. Like it
Yeah.
feels like kind of an easy decision from that standpoint. But once again, you gotta include all the external factors here. H1 Drac says
Yeah,
Philly.
that's one of my guys, bro. H1X
Oh,
Drinking, bro.
thank you for tapping
Yeah,
in. We
he's such a
appreciate it.
troll, bro. Like you
Hey,
never know when this guy for real, man.
with that being said, Slim, I do see 401 viewers live right now in here. So if you're viewing on Twitter right now, head over to the YouTube channel, NBA to the Galaxy Pod. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and comment over there so we can actually see your comments on our screen and get you involved in the show. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, do that. Yeah,
if you can do that for us, that'll help everybody out here. It'll make it
yeah,
more
we're
enjoyable for y'all as
yeah for
well. So,
sure.
but what's some other things that have kind of gone down so
Uh,
far here?
let's see. What do we have here? I mean,
We got Chris Paul waived. I know that was one of the things before we hopped on here.
CP got waived. Kevin Love returned to the Heat 2 years, $8 million. Um, so you got Luke Cornett signing back with the Celtics.
I see this rumor that just dropped. Looks like 16 minutes ago from Sean Cunningham. Says the Sacramento Kings are pursuing a trade for Brandon Ingram.
Oh, let's talk about that though. We didn't even talk about that DeJounte Murray trade. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm glad you thought of that because we was definitely about to hover right over that. But what did you think of that deal? Like getting DeJounte Murray
Um,
onto the Pelicans, that fit, and then just kind of another question for you: what does that mean for the rest of their roster? Like who's getting moved here?
as far as like from the Hawks standpoint or the Pelican
From
standpoint.
the Pelicans, like they got DeJounte now. They got guys that they can build a pretty solid starting lineup. Like who do you think's the odd man out here?
I think Ingram gone though. I
He's
feel like
gone.
yeah, I think he played his last game as a Pelican. Like, because this trade is not official yet, by the way. So there's still some pieces that had to be like worked into this to make it done. So, but I think Bi probably be the odd man out here. But man, like the ultimate finesse, like the Pelicans finesse the Hawks easily, bro. Like they got a young, talented prospect in Dyson Daniels, but I mean to only get him and Larry Nance and
Yeah,
draft picks is just crazy to me because I know for a fact other teams could have offered way more for the Dejounte Murray. I mean,
yeah.
just way more. Like, but shout out to them for going out there and getting it done. It was a steal, in my opinion. He fits right in, can play off the ball and on the ball. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how things pan out for them. But I definitely think Bi gone though.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you there because I think when you look at Trey Murphy, the third, like that's the good fit with Zion, with the rest of these guys there, DeJounte now, and Brandon Ingram is just kind of a redundant fit to obviously DeJounte Murray, but H1 Drax says Ingram to Memphis for Smart. Nah, I don't
Nah,
think he's gonna go for that little, right?
yeah, the
Like he's
Grizzlies,
worth a little bit
yeah,
more than
the
that.
Grizzlies is his team, so of course he would say something like this. So
Oh, I got you. I
yeah,
got you. I feel that. Maybe throw in a few first round picks, right? Like I don't know what they're working with
maybe
draft capital.
Smart, Zaire Williams, and some picks to probably get it done.
Yeah, I think that would get it done. But to your point about DeJounte Murray and you calling that a steal for the Pelicans, I do think it's interesting what DeJounte got traded for compared to like a Mikal Bridges. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
yeah, you could definitely say that. Yeah,
Like I think Mikal Bridge is probably a little bit more valuable just because he's a little bit younger. I would imagine. I'm not exactly sure how
they
old
actually
Mikal
not that
Bridges is,
far away from an age standpoint though.
right? Because Mikal
Maybe like
Bridges,
a
he's got to be like
year.
26, 27.
Yeah, like a year, maybe two apart. They not that far off from each other though.
Yeah, so Mikal goes for 5 first-round picks and a couple players thrown in there, and DeJounte Murray goes for what, 2, 3 first or draft picks?
Yeah, just two draft picks, nothing like
Just
first
2.
round. Yeah, just two draft picks. So.
That's crazy. And the crazy part about it is I'm sitting here looking at the Sixers and I'm like, you better have like something better planned. Like you better be getting Paul George and something else
Yeah,
if you're
Latavius
not hopping
Caldwell
in and
Pope.
taking advantage of that deal, right? Like because like you said, there's plenty of other teams that have more to offer to Atlanta in order to get DeJounte out of there. And it'll be interesting to see what else Atlanta does because they still do have veterans there, the Bogies, even Trey Young, who's been mentioned in trade rumors leading into this offseason. So kind of signals the Atlanta Hawks are, going into a little bit of a rebuilding mode here. And
Yeah, I think that's the way they're going.
don't think that there's going to be, I think there's going to be plenty more contracts that we see go out here.
Yeah, for sure. Trey Young era is officially over, I feel like.
Which is crazy. What are some fits for Trey Young, man? Like, where could he go?
He could potentially go down to San Antonio with Wemby. And
I'm glad you
yeah,
said that's the first team that came to my mind as well, honestly.
he can go down there. But at this stage of his career, I feel like he want to, go out there and compete. So he may make his way down to like a, LA Lakers or, I'm trying to think of a few teams here that make sense. Um, maybe would you consider a Garland for a Trey Young swap? Would it make that team better?
Yeah, I think Trey Young's better than Darius Garland. I do.
I could potentially see him going to Cleveland for a package deal surrounding Garland.
It's like similar issues, I guess, but Trey Young is just more consistent, I would say, than Darius Garland. But
Yeah.
yeah, you could probably, I mean, you could make it work. I do think San Antonio, he could maybe like expedite their rebuild a little bit, like a backcourt with him and Stephon Castle, and then having Victor Wembanyama. You got Greg Popovich. I don't know. They are a little young. I know what you mean, but it's an interesting thought. The Lakers was an interesting thought as well. I don't know how they make that happen. So, like financially, trade, whatever the case may be. But I did want to ask you about the rumor that LeBron is willing to basically take less in order to get a Klay Thompson. Who was some of the other guys? Was it Jonas Valanciunas? I'm blanking on the
Yeah,
other one.
it was. I know I seen Harden,
Was
but
it James
he's
Harden? Yeah, it was James
yeah,
Harden. So take
he's
him out
gone
of
now.
there.
So. I
Um,
think
what
Gary
do
Trent
you think?
Jr., Buddy Hill too.
What do you think the Lakers should do here? Like, what is their path to another championship in your eyes? Like in free agency,
They should definitely go after Valanciunas though, so that way you can put AD back to the fourth spot.
back to the four.
That's when the year they won the championship, they had Brown at the one and AD at the four. So they should probably look to go back to that and just see how it go. But definitely should go out there and try to get a shooting big man like Valanciunas and maybe like make other marginal moves as well, like pieces that'll make you better. So I feel like going after Valanciunas is a start. It just depends, man, because it takes two to tango. So maybe he think his value is higher than what the Lakers can offer him. So
Right.
yeah, only time will tell. So
No, that is an interesting thought. And thinking about what oh my goodness, why did it just slip my mind again? Klay Thompson. So I just saw the report from Adrian Wojnarowski. I think you talked about it a little bit earlier, but the Mavericks, Lakers, Clippers, and 76ers for Klay Thompson. So I think Klay Thompson obviously would be a home run signing for the Lakers as well. Jonas Valanciunas adds a little bit different of an element. If there's some way that they can, have LeBron take less and get a chance at both of those guys, I don't know what their financial situation's truly looking like. I know they can't do too much, but depending on how much wiggle room LeBron can give them. Just saw Nico Batum is not returning to the 76ers.
oh,
So
he's
that's per the Athletic. Thought that would be one of the guys that would for sure return to Philly,
yeah,
but
he was nice for y'all. He locked up Tyler Hero in that playing game.
maybe he doesn't want to play with PG.
Wow, yeah.
I'm just making that up
Yeah,
out of
you
thin
connected.
air.
You
I don't
trying to
know.
connect the dots here, huh?
Yeah, I
So
don't know.
I see that Twitter is making a thing here saying that did the Clippers choose Harden over PG. That's interesting if they did though. Well,
They're
but
phrasing it
technically
like
they
that.
didn't because I'm sure they offered him something. It's just he
Yeah,
want longer years.
yeah. It just wasn't what he wanted.
Yeah.
And apparently Zach Lowe is saying that the Sixers can. There is a way the Sixers can get Paul George and Klay Thompson.
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like that would be really tricky to make both of those salaries work over a couple year time frame.
So do
So
you think
I'm
that
not going to get my
Batum?
hopes up for that. I would take either one of them though, as we go through this off season. To be clear, with the
So do,
priority being Paul
so do
George.
you think that
What?
Batum is going to retire, or he just not coming back to the Sixers?
I don't know. It's interesting. I do think if he was going to play, he would come back to the Sixers. He definitely played really well for us, like you said. Um, he could be retiring. I know that was always his plan. Like he just kind of wanted to stay in LA in the first place, just to finish out his last season there.
Yeah.
Um, but I thought maybe coming over, playing with Embiid, and trying something new, maybe he would come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, signs say that he is not returning to the Sixers, which that is kind of disappointing. I like what he brought as a glue guy there.
Yeah. Check out that post I just sent you on X, man. I mean, I'm sure you'll be pretty ecstatic to see that. 4-time All Star.
5 years ago, man. 5 years ago, the Sixers gave Al Horford 109 million.
What a time, man. Shout out to Al Horford agent, though, man.
Yeah, he
He
got
got
some
that guy
bread and
bag.
got a ring, man. Um, man. So where do you think Klay Thompson? We got to talk about this, right? We can talk about the Warriors from their standpoint, or we could talk about where Klay Thompson fits best moving away from the Warriors. Where do you want to go first?
Maybe we can talk about like where he fits. You know, maybe we can.
That's fine. That's fine. Obviously, it says here this is from Wojnarowski. Mavs, Lakers, Clippers, and 76ers are going to have discussions with Klay Thompson in the opening hours of free agency. Let's just go with those four teams as options here. Who do you think he fits best? Like, who do you think he fits best with, and where do you think he will actually go?
um, I say out of those, I think he'll fit the most with like better. Probably the Mavericks, man. Him being alongside Luka and Kyrie, they can use his floor spacing ability. That was one thing they struggled with in the
That's true.
finals. Guys were struggling to make shots and whatnot. So yeah, I had to say Dallas, but what he probably end up going to is the Lakers because his dad has been on Twitter with X pretty much all day, like advocating for this man to come to the Lakers. So I could somehow see myself waking up seeing that he has signed with them. But it just depends on what price they're looking to offer him, though. Because
Right. I don't
I
know
mean,
what
we
they
offered Clay like whoever offered him something like, unless it's the Sixers, because y'all have the most cap space out of those teams that you mentioned.
Yeah,
I mean, we still offer him the most out of everybody else, which was like 24 million a year. He didn't want it. So,
he didn't want that.
but yeah, I can somehow see him going to the Lakers for some reason. That all just transpires, man. It's just gonna
Yeah,
feel so weird. Like, damn, bro. Like seeing
yeah,
Clay with another jersey on. Like, this shit is crazy, bro. But then
yeah.
again,
I
like,
can't imagine it, bro. From
but
your
then
perspective.
again, having Chris Paul on the team last season, kind of like, woke me up to anything can happen. Cause who the hell would have thought this shit, man? It
He says
just
Clay should go die with the Hornets.
why the fuck would he go there? He can't compete. You know,
He
he
said he
not
should
going
go
to.
kill his career in Charlotte right
He
there.
not
Yeah,
going to win a ring down there. That's
yeah.
another one of my guys, bro. He a troll too, bro. You got to watch these guys, man.
Is he a Hornets fan at least? Like I don't
I mean, ain't
know.
no telling with this guy. I seen this guy with a Cowboys hat on one time. Clippers,
Oh
Sixers.
God,
He support them all. So ain't no telling with
that's
that guy.
fair though. He just likes sports, man.
Yeah, he just
That's
likes
fine.
sports, but he a huge Cowboys fan though for sure. Huge Cowboys
That's
fan.
disgusting. Yeah, he's a cockroach. That's what we call Cowboys fans here in Philly, cockroaches. Because
Oh
they only
man,
come out, when nobody's looking. They only show themselves when nobody else is looking there. But no, that's funny though. Klay Thompson to the Lakers. I do feel you. It feels like somehow he's gonna get there. Like I don't know what it is. I don't know what they can do. How much LeBron would have to sacrifice in his deal to. He said, "Hell no." After Cowboy. Hey, respect them.
Yeah,
Respect.
respect that.
You a good one.
Respect. Yeah, respect.
But it does. I don't know how much LeBron would have to sacrifice to get, um, Klay Thompson onto the Lakers and make that a possibility. So, we'll see. I think what would be most exciting would be if he went to like the 76ers or the Mavericks. And I'll say the
Yeah,
Mavericks just
yeah, for
because I
sure.
think it's a little more realistic if the Sixers end up getting Paul George. Because it just kind of like evens the playing field. And I know the Mavs just went to the finals. Like they don't really need to even the playing field or whatever you want to call it. But they obviously got gentlemen swept in that series. Like there is a little bit of ground to make. Like the West is going to get better. Somehow, some way, the rest of the West is going to get better. Um, and so I think it would be really fun in the Western Conference to kind of even things out in that sense. But I guess you could say the same thing for the Lakers in a sense. It would bring them back up a little bit into those talks. But I don't know. The Mavericks does feel like the most fun. Like that's where if he's not coming to the Sixers with Paul George, I would like to see him on the Mavericks, most likely there. But um, it is interesting to see that kind of the way he departed from Golden State because it does feel like Golden State, usually does the right things in these situations. But now you look around and Klay Thompson might be gone. Chris Paul just got waived. You traded Jordan Poole for him. Um, where do the Warriors go next, man? Like you got to talk to me here about your squad.
I was going to avoid answering this question, bro. But I mean, it's definitely more to it because, like, I told you, I offered him like 2 years, 48. So that there shows me like it's a lot going on behind the scenes. Like Clay probably just feels some type of way that he got benched for a rookie last season, and there were times he didn't close games for us or whatever, and it's a lot, man. But I don't know where the hell they go from here. Like it's tough, bro, because you got Steph, he's not getting no younger. You got Money Green still on the team, doing what he do, and you still got Wiggins, Kaminga. But as far as like going out there signing like a big time free agent,
Right.
it's just our odds are not high of doing it. So I don't know. Maybe we can try to make a trade and go out there and get a piece that ultimately not necessarily put us over the hump, but be in playoff contention at least. But I don't know where they go from here, to be honest, bro. So it's not
Says you
time
got
for a rebuild, dude. It's
says
not
you got to
time for it,
trade
man.
Steph. Hey,
It's not time
hey,
for a
man,
rebuild, man.
got to
Nah,
consider
bro.
all options, bro. Like
Nah. Steph a warrior for life, bro.
no, I'm just kidding there, but it is an interesting thought. Like if things go south early on in the season, do you think about it? Towards the trade deadline. I don't know. I don't
I
know
don't
where
know, man.
where things are
I
going there.
don't know where they go from here, though. I
The
honestly don't know.
fact the fact that you guys were willing to trade Jonathan Kaminga to the Clippers, though, like at least from the reports,
Yeah.
willing to trade Jonathan Kaminga to the Clippers for Paul George. Um, if he's available, you can get something nice in return. Like if Jonathan Kaminga is available realistically, then you can get another star level player with a package that includes him. Like I truly believe that. Even the Clippers, I think that was strictly because the Warriors are in the Western Conference. They're not doing them any favors, and I
Yeah.
actually respect that to an extent because we have guys over here in the Eastern Conference that just hand players to one another and help teams that don't really need help, right? And I'm talking about the Nets and the Knicks there, but uh, even Drew Holiday somehow getting to the Celtics, like it's ridiculous. But
Yeah.
um, it will be interesting to see if you guys kind of pivot there and try to get a deal done. Let's look at the Eastern Conference a little bit. Talk about the Knicks. Obviously, they were able to get Mikal Bridges, able to sign OG Anunoby back, but you got Isaiah Hartenstein, who is going to have a ton of suitors out here, apparently from his performances in the playoffs. Very valuable player. OKC seems like just the no-brainer move for him, in my opinion. I don't know what you think there.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that, like, the Thunder are meeting with him. He just reported it. Sean's Carano with the Athletic that the Thunder are meeting with Isaiah Hartenstein. So
Interesting.
I feel like it could be a good fit, although he's not like a great stretch big. And the Thunder like to run five out or whatnot, but I still feel like overall it could be a good fit. Like I'm sure at times you can, play him and Chet alongside each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that's like a no brainer. Would be a good fit. I feel like he could bring that toughness, rebounding. So I actually like that fit for him, and he'll get a payday down there. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. I think it makes a ton of sense because it's exactly what they really need in reality. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. Where do you think the Orlando Magic should turn here? Like obviously they're going to look at Paul George, but there are other free agents out there like a DeMar DeRozan. Like where does a DeMar DeRozan end up out here? Like I don't think Orlando's an ideal fit, obviously given the skill sets, but seems like he may end up back on the West Coast. Would you consider him somehow if you could get him to the Warriors?
yeah, I definitely consider a guy like Demar. Yeah, I would love to have a guy like him.
For some reason, it feels like he's going to end up on the Lakers somehow. Like I don't know why, but he just or the Clippers,
Yeah,
one
I'm
of
gonna
those
say
teams
yeah.
in LA
I feel like he'll go to the Clippers more than before he would go to the Lakers. I feel like so.
before the Lakers, and he
Yeah,
does kind of fit with those guys.
yeah, he
That was
does.
kind of ironic. He got traded to San Antonio for Kawhi, so
Yeah, that
them
would be something nice.
become teammates here in 2024 would be
Yeah,
interesting.
that would be wild. But to answer your original question though, like the Magic, I feel like if they could add guys like KCP, but even at
Yeah,
Tobias Harris, that'd be pretty good for them because they do have. Bro, come on, man, what's so funny? I mean, like Tobias on the Orlando Magic team, not bad if we're being
I
honest, because
feel
he can give them like 14, 15 points. He's a vet, so hey, who knows how he'll play, but yeah, go out there and try to get a guy like Tobias, KCP, try to get some depth and see how it goes. Cause how much money are they working with in free agency? Like, I
if
know y'all
they
got the most money though out of everybody.
I can't remember if they're I think OKC might have moved down a little bit.
Yeah, because I think you guys have the most money out of everybody in free agency right now.
NBA caps. Let's just see really quick, just so we can be accurate here. Let's see. Yeah, so it's the Sixers with 60, close to 61 million. The Pistons with close to 51 million, and then the Orlando Magic with 49.1 million. So I figured if they were in the Paul George standings, they would have enough at least to offer like a max contract.
Yeah.
Jazz have 37.7. They come in at fourth. Thunder with 30.5 million at five, and then the Spurs at 26 million. Those are your top six teams with the most cap space.
Okay.
So I
Yes,
mean,
I've seen them.
if
Yeah.
they went the KCP route, like if they don't get Paul George, um, rumor is he's around that 25 million per year mark, which I think if he goes to Orlando, they're gonna have to give him like the most that he would get. You know what I mean? Um, so KCP, you could do KCP and another like legitimate good role player to Orlando. I think for that amount of money, I think they would be able to swing that.
Yeah, I think you get KC about like 20 mil, about 3 years. I feel like that's pretty fair. And then use the rest to go out there and get another high impact, ready now vet or something like that. Maybe a DeMar DeRozan. See how that goes. So yeah.
So I'm just looking through here at the deals that are already done. So free agents that are already signed back to their team or signed elsewhere. So obviously you had OG Anunoby with the 5-year, $212 million contract. Pascal Siakam back to Indiana. Emmanuel Quickly back to Toronto. Claxton back to Brooklyn. Patrick Williams back to Chicago. Malik Monk back to Sacramento. James Harden back to the Clippers, as we reported earlier. Obi Toppin back to the Pacers for 4-year deal. Royce O'Neal back to the Suns on a 4-year deal. Max Christie back to the Lakers on a 4-year deal. Kevin Love, as you mentioned earlier, back to the Heat. DeAndre Jordan back to the Nuggets. Alex Lynn back to the Kings. And Bol back to Phoenix. Luke Cornett back to Boston.
Hmm.
So those are all the
So
deals for the free agency.
so I don't know like how familiar you is with the new CBA, but apparently it's like so I just seen this report. It said only two signings so far half an hour in the free agency. The Heat re-signed Kevin Love and the Celtics re-signed Luke Cornett, but it appears that teams are trying to avoid any potential tampering penalties. So, I mean, like,
Interesting.
how long until that policy stops? Like,
The
that's
tampering policy, or
yeah, the tampering policy because we only had like what 3 signings so far in the free
yeah,
agency.
it's dead, right? Like,
Yeah,
and
so
yeah, it's crazy because the Sixers are one of those teams that got caught tampering or
yeah,
whatever happened
with
there
the
with
PJ
PJ
Tucker,
Tucker.
yeah,
Yeah,
PJ Tucker,
so
yeah, because
it
I
does make
seen
sense,
his
right?
yeah, because I seen his contract get leaked before he actually signed it, and it was
Yeah,
the exact
exactly.
amount. So yeah,
And I know that stuff happens in the NFL for sure, but I guess they're trying to
yeah,
crack down on it a little bit
I'm
with
trying
the NBA.
to do my research here.
So LeBron technically is a free agent right now. He hasn't signed back. Paul George, obviously, Klay Thompson, Tobias, as you mentioned, Gordon Hayward, Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Buddy Hield, Gary Trent Jr., KCP, Malik Beasley. There's quality guys out there, man. There's quality guys and there's plenty of
Man,
fits.
the new CBA, bro, like CJ McCollum, Grant Williams, y'all would never win anything in the NBA. Y'all are losers. And it's guys like y'all who just take the fun out of this shit no more. Like, I'm not even talking about from a Warrior standpoint.
Yeah,
It's just
the
crazy,
penalties,
man.
right?
Yeah, bro. Like they just, it's crazy, man. The new CBA might set the NBA back for a decade. This shit crazy, man.
Yeah, it does. It's really funny, like why we have to crack down on that type of stuff. It's like I guess it's more to like maybe even out the NBA in a sense, like to make it more even competition. But I don't know, man.
Man, that's whack, man.
That suck though. Yeah, like there's no no new signings, bro.
Nothing, bro. Like
Everybody
we've
gonna
been
sit
doing.
on their hands, and it's like all you can do is yeah. So it did. I just saw a report. I don't know who this is though. So he's a credentialed writer covering the LA Clippers for Fan Nation and Sports Illustrated now. His name's Farbad Esnasahari. So a writer for the Clippers. He says, pretty sure these Paul George meetings are all just a formality right now, and he's already chosen the Sixers. But once again, can't trust everybody you see out there.
Oh man. Oh, interesting. So Westbrook, as I mentioned, up until his $4 million deal, the Clippers are now working to find a trade for him.
Interesting. Where could Westbrook head to? Where could he go at this point?
Hey, would you be welcome to bringing him to Philly? Coming off the bench. I feel like he's an upgrade over Lowry in a sense.
Yeah,
I feel like he'd be a good
I wouldn't
mentor to
hate it.
Maxey.
Yeah, I would, as long as he's off the bench, I wouldn't hate it. I just wouldn't want him starting, but
Yeah, he could come out the bench.
yeah, for the right price, I would be okay with that.
So it said from Chris Haynes that the Bulls offered Zach LaVine for Wiggins and Chris Paul, but the Warriors said no.
Interesting. And I would do that if I was a Warrior. I know Zach LaVine's value is plummeted, but
Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins and what?
Chris Paul.
And Chris Paul. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. It depends on what other piece they add in there. Because I mean we is giving about best defender for a scorer. You don't know if he's gonna be healthy or
Yeah.
not, but I mean it's better than arguably nothing. I don't know.
But like, think of it this way: like, rather than Andrew Wiggins and Jonathan Kuminga, Zach LaVine and Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's
As
it.
your
Right.
as your
Yeah.
two wings,
Yeah,
sounds a lot better.
and then also not only that, like at least we included CP in some type of deal opposed to just waiving
Didn't
him.
lose him for nothing. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, that Levine, maybe we're underselling the Levine contract.
yeah,
Like,
because
obviously, a lot of people are trying to avoid that.
Yeah, like I think like his market, he has none. Like literally, they've been trying to get rid of him since I don't know, like maybe the trade deadline or something, and they still got him.
I can't remember if I asked you this, and it's funny. And I'm only asking this because I just saw somebody tweet it out on X, but they said that they think Contavious Caldwell Pope is like the better player right now than Klay Thompson. Like, how do you feel about that from your perspective, seeing Klay Thompson play last year and everything?
I mean, I feel like they would say that. Like impact wise, I can't argue against that. Like I feel like he's the better impact player. Immediately, he can help you win,
Yeah,
opposed to Clay. But to say that he's the better player, I don't know, man. It's tough. Like just due to the way our roster was constructed, like there was time Clay had to play like more out of his position than what he had used
yeah.
to, just coming off screens and catching and shooting. There was time where he had to create. So I mean, I can see it from an impact standpoint, like I mentioned, but overall, I think I would probably go with Clay. But I mean, KCP is a winner, so hey, I mean, it's not
They
like
both
KCP
are.
just had
They
like
both
the
are.
best. Yeah, they both are. Like KCP didn't just had the best playoffs neither. Like let's not
Right.
forget that he didn't
That's
shoot.
what I think is crazy about his value right now.
Yeah, like
Is that it's kind of based on Denver's last championship, like last year, in
yeah,
a
like
sense.
I would take Clay over him though. Honestly, like yeah,
It's
KCP didn't
interesting.
shoot the ball. He didn't really play that well in the playoffs. If we're being honest
He didn't. No, he didn't
here.
shoot the ball well at all. I mean, he's supposed to be,
Yeah, your
a
fourth,
lockdown
fifth
defender,
best,
but
whatever. So
I guess
3 and
anybody
D.
would struggle with Ant Edwards guarding
Yeah,
him. But
yeah. Speaking of 3 and D, what are your thoughts on Royce O'Neal? Though he got a bag yesterday, man.
I, I get it. I get it. I feel like they need other things in Phoenix, though. Like,
They
it's good
do.
to have as many wings as you can possibly have. I do feel that, but like, I just feel like they could use a real point guard. They could use like a good center, right? Like a real good center. Um, but
Man.
you get Royce O'Neal. He is a legitimate 3 and D guy.
Yeah,
He's a
for sure. Yeah,
legitimate. He can guard the other opposing team's best wing if you need him to.
yeah,
He is that valuable. So it's not really about the contract that he got, I guess. Although
yeah,
that is a bad, like 4 years of Royce O'Neal.
yeah.
How
Like
old is he?
he's like 32, 33. I feel like a lot of guys are like overreacting, saying overpaid, but I highly disagree with that. Like maybe it's because I'm biased towards defense, but $11 million, like that's not bad for a guy like Royce. I mean, what he's going to give you. He's a legit 3 and D guy, so you have to respect that. So,
Yeah, and
and
I
then in the
mean,
Phoenix
he's
Suns
31 years old.
situation, like they technically had to pay him, or they was going to lose him for nothing, like the Harden thing. So
They wouldn't be able to sign
yeah,
anyone
they
else
wouldn't. Yeah,
in
so
place of him.
in a sense of ways, you kind of had to pay him, So, and if you look at the market, like if he were to leave, like I mean, like who would kind of replace him in that point of attack role or being able to knock down threes or whatever? So,
I'm just
Mhm.
looking through this list here. And guys, like I'm just interested to see where some of these guys go. It's so wild because there's not as many stars this offseason, obviously, in free agency. And so it becomes a little bit harder to predict, I feel like, in a sense, like where
It
do
is. It really is.
the Buddy Hields end up? Like, does he return to Philly? Does he find a new team to help space the floor for them?
Um.
Gary Trent Jr.
So they
Like these
said.
are guys all in the similar situation, I feel.
So they said the Nuggets are showing interest in Westbrook, but what would you? Speaking of Buddy Hill, like what would you think that the Sixers will offer him? Like a 2 year, 3 year deal, and what type of salary are we looking at here?
He is 31 years old. I didn't realize Buddy Hill was that old, but
He's what?
it says he is 31 and a half years old.
Yeah, I think Buddy actually may be the oldest in his draft class, if I'm not mistaken.
Makes
Because I
sense.
think he
Played
did.
4 years
Yeah,
in
he 4 years at
college.
Oklahoma. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Yeah, him that old. He's not like a young, he's not like a guy trying to find his place anymore. He's a guy that could be on his way out. We don't know. He didn't get many minutes in the postseason. That's why I say that, but could bounce back as well. He's still young enough to do that. Um, I'm curious, man. I don't know. I think he's like a player, like I've said about a lot of the guys that could return to the Sixers. It really depends on the price. Like an Oubre, how much is he going to get offered elsewhere? But yeah, I could see like a 2 or 3 year deal.
Yeah.
What is a regular, like, what is a Buddy Hield contract? Like, if KCP's getting, he's looking for 25 million annually. He's obviously better than Buddy Hield. He's more valuable than Buddy Hield. Much better defender. What does Buddy get annually? Is it like what, 8 million,
Maybe,
9
yeah,
million,
maybe
10
a
million?
well, what about Kelly? Like what you think his market is like between the 11 to 12 million dollar range?
For a bad team, I think he could get like in that 15 to 16,
Yeah,
17.
15-ish. Yeah,
Yeah, I think he
15-ish.
could get up in that range. Like if he's not worried about winning, he can go get a bag this offseason because of the way this free agency class is. But
Yeah.
I could see him at the same time if he really enjoyed his time in Philly, wants to come back, wants to compete. Um, I would give Kelly, from what I saw, if we give Paul George the max, we'll have something around 14 to 16 million dollars left in cap space.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't want to eat up too much of that. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what my max would be that I would give Kelly Oubre, because then I start to look at other guys in free agency, and I look at guys like Gary Trent Jr., even a Malik Beasley, Luke Kennard. There's a couple options out there that I would consider if they would come for less than Kelly Oubre. I don't know where that value is though. Like, is Gary Trent Jr. more valuable than Kelly Oubre? Like, do you
That's
think
up
so?
for that's up for debate, honestly. Like they both have their pros and cons, so
Right.
yeah, that's a up for the debate thing.
It's a
I
tough
don't
one.
yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think either one of them are just clear cut better than this. So um better than one another to be exact, but it's
Yeah,
interesting,
they
man.
provide
Maybe
two different things.
yeah,
I
maybe
feel what you're
if
saying.
I were you guys, I would probably get Kelly like 12 year, 12 million a year.
12
I
million a
feel like
year.
I feel like that's reasonable for a guy like him. I mean, he does guards point of attack for you guys, so yeah, I feel like that's reasonable.
Let's see what let me look up what Kelly's numbers were here.
Maybe a lineup of Maxi, Kelly, PG, get a four guy, and then Embiid. That's a pretty nice team right there.
Yeah, that is an interesting thought. Like, if we do get PG, if we get another wing, like, who is going to start at the four? Or do they go small ball? But, like, I just don't know if we go small ball again after how we got dominated by New York in the playoffs on the boards. Like,
I was I
I
was
don't know
just
if we
gonna
can
ask
afford
like
that.
because I think me and you talked about this when we first started doing this podcast stuff. What about maybe Paul Reed at that fourth spot? Like, do you think it's time or
ah, ah, I don't like. I don't want to go into the season with that. Like, I wouldn't be comfortable, is what I would say to that. I don't trust Paul Reed too much anymore, man. Honestly,
Wow.
maybe I'm being too hard on it. I'm just so like want something like new with this team, man. Like,
Yeah, I
watching some of
understand
these
that.
guys the last few years and just like disappear in the postseason. Like, he couldn't even play against New York because he was going to get dominated by Hartenstein or Mitchell Robinson. But to your point, he'd be playing the four, so it would be a little bit different, maybe a little bit better size wise for him. But I'm just not sure if he like goes against, let's say, like the Knicks, and they're running this lineup with, either Julius Randle at the four, or they have Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby starting at the 3 and 4s. Who's he going to guard? He can't even guard. He's not guarding a Julius Randle who posts up from time to time. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think maybe off the bench. I would love to see him like not in the rotation next year, if I'm being completely honest. But I know that might not be possible. But he is one of the guys I could see if we try to trade for someone like a role player outside of Paul George. He could be an option to get traded. But
Yeah.
Kelly Oubre last year, 15 points, 5 rebounds a game, 44% from the field, and 31% from the 3-point line. So it's like you still want to see that 3-point number get up there a little bit. But 39% from the 3-point line in the postseason. So it's going to be interesting. Wings, they have incredible value. Like if Royce O'Neal, what, he just got 11 million, you said, or 12 million per year?
Yeah, 11 million a year.
You know, who's a better player? I think Royce O'Neal might be a little bit more valuable just because of his ability. Like he's a true
Yeah,
3-and-D.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if he's getting 11, 12 million, Kelly Oubre's a little bit younger. Maybe Oubre gets the same or maybe a
Yeah,
little
but
bit more even.
yeah, maybe 2 extra million, maybe 13, depends. Yeah, man, what Dylan at, man?
He probably backed out because there ain't no deals. Let me text him, man. See what's going on.
Yeah, what's going on? Hey, this is weird though, bro. Like, there hasn't been a deal in like the past 40 minutes. Like, what's going on? I don't know,
Teams
man.
weren't fiending to spend that
That's
money.
that's what I'm trying to see. Like, how long does this tampering rule like last? Like, like this is wild right now.
Yeah, nothing's happened since it looks like 6:34. At least by the ESPN app, 6:34 p.m. It was the Kevin Love deal.
And for us though, like I will say this, like obviously I hate to see Clay go, but hopefully we can do some type of sign and trade. At least we get something back in return. Like it's better than losing him for absolutely nothing. So that would be nice.
No, I do feel you on that. I just am curious. Maybe it is the Lakers that you could do something like that with. Um, just because they're gonna have to like kind of maneuver to make that work with Clay if they do try to do that. But I don't know, man. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see where Clay ends up, what the Warriors are able to do. Would you have any interest in like a Brandon Ingram?
Yeah, I would. I would. Like he's a guy who can create for himself, but also others. You know, he can play. He can play off the ball. I mean, his 3-point shooting numbers isn't too high, but he can play off the ball, man. So I would love to fit for sure. Obviously, he's not Clay as far as like being a 3-point shooter, but I would love to have a guy like him.
Clippers are looking to trade PJ Tucker and Tobias
That's
Harris is linked to
that's
the Pistons.
that's a no brainer right there that they're looking to trade PJ Tucker. I mean, he opted in until his 11 million. So
See, that's the thing. If as soon as we get off here, a deal is gonna happen.
yes, it's literally, it's bound to happen, bro. Like the moment we get off this shit.
What I'll say though, to you, obviously, I know your time difference is it affects you have a little bit different schedule than what I have, being where you are Central Time. If Paul George ends up signing tonight, maybe you could hop on in the morning with me and Dylan on the morning show if you're free. Whatever we can see how it works out, but
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, man, like when is this gonna go down? Like, what
But
type of
hold up.
timeline are we on with Paul George? Like,
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, didn't the report come out that he planned on meeting with them tonight though?
yeah, so and if
Right.
the other reports are accurate, they were saying that basically this is just kind of a formality meeting with these other teams, and that he is going to go to the Sixers. It should get done tonight. I feel like they're all in California right now.
Yeah. You think Darren Moore got what it takes to get it done, man? Another question though, like I feel like what's the hold up on the Tyrese Maxey extension though? Like what's going on here? Like that should be a no brainer, right?
I don't know if that has to do with like them just trying to kind of like get deals done before they do that deal, just because I don't know if it impacts like what would be available to them in free agency. I don't know how all that works. So I would guess that it has something to do that with that. Like as soon as they're able to get whatever big deals done that they need to do in free agency, maybe they go ahead and get him re-signed because it will take them into the tax. I don't know. I don't know if that's why.
Yeah,
That's the only thing I can think of
yeah.
as
I
to
feel
why
you
it
on
wouldn't
that.
already be done.
Yeah, So we got a signing. So free agent, big man. I don't know how to say his name. Is it Quater? Has agreed on a multi-year deal to stay with the Celtics. I think it's Quater, Cater, something like that.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Interesting. So that's the big deal, huh?
But then again, like this free agent class isn't too highly stacked anyway. So,
So Andre Drummond just tweeted, "I'm in the mood for a Philly cheesesteak."
bro, come on, Dre.
So
So
is Andre Drummond coming back to Philly? Now that's a backup center. That's the backup center that we're looking for here in Philly. That's interesting. Why else would he tweet that if he's not coming back?
somebody said the fun thing about free agency is that no deals has has been agreed upon since the clock struck 6 p.m. Eastern. Interesting, this happens after strict tampering rules have been put in place. This is wild though,
Yeah,
bro. Like
because
these.
Mark Stein just tweeted something similar, like officially 1 hour into NBA free agency, 0 free agents have switched teams yet. And many, many, many of us are openly pining for the good old days of deals already being done at 6:01 p.m.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you're exactly right. It is the tampering.
But that's what I can't find. Like, how long does this last? Like, maybe it's just like the first hour ended or something.
No, I don't think it's like that. Like the tampering, it's just that they have to get the deals done. Starting at
Oh,
6, now it's time to talk about the deals. Whereas like
okay.
in the past, we could already be approaching 6 p.m. and the Sixers already have the deal agreed with Paul George, money and all of it. So the
Bro,
tampering is just
Andre
doing
Drummond.
that before free agency
I
starts.
hate
You
to
know what I
cut you
mean?
off, bro, but
Yeah.
Drummond just signed with the Sixers, bro. 2 years, 10 million, man.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm so glad, bro. Like the rebounding when Embiid
Yeah,
steps off the
that's
court specifically. Oh my God.
that's huge, man.
That's
So
the
I mean,
best backup center we've ever had for Joel, for sure.
yeah, facts. For sure. So this will have to mean that Paul Reed is on his way out, right?
I'm hoping. In a trade, yeah. I'm hoping. But like you said, like they could be like foolish enough to think like let's try him at power forward or something. Like they could be foolish enough to do that, but he is like the main piece in a trade. If we're to trade something out with draft picks to make like salaries work, he's that piece.
Yeah. I wonder is it any
Andre
way we could
Drummond,
like
bro.
is it any way we could like pull up Twitter on here?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe we can just pull up the different signers until we in the stream or whatnot.
Yeah. Let me get it pulled up here.
Yeah, that's a good deal for Drummond. 5 million a
Yeah.
year.
I
That's
think
pretty
like
good.
over like all around, right? Like for
Yeah,
Drummond for the Sixers, it didn't cost too much.
yeah,
That's a no-brainer for the Sixers though, honestly. That's a no-brainer.
yeah.
Let me see if I can get this pulled up for us.
I think we're going to make our first sign in about 3 more weeks. We're going to sign what's ever left after what's left. That's crazy, bro. So the Jazz, the Mavericks, the Pistons, and the Spurs are interested in Tobias Harris. So Dallas will have to acquire Harris via sign and trade due to the lack of cap space. So that's interesting. I mean, I wonder what would you guys get back in return?
That is interesting.
Because they just shipped Tim Hardaway Jr. off to the Pistons. So
Right, they got off that salary. They got Quentin Grimes, which was actually we didn't talk about that either, but I thought that was a pretty good pickup for them. Um, That's
yeah,
interesting. I wonder if the Sixers. I wonder if they sign Paul George. Like, is that possible to do afterwards? You know what I mean? Financially.
yeah. I know Josh Green makes like 12 million a year. He's actually a guy that's if we were to do like a sign and trade with the Mavericks, it would be him and Maxi Kleber involved in it. So it is
Yeah.
interesting to see. But to answer your original question, I love that pickup them getting Grimes. He's a tough guy. He can guard. He can knock down threes. He's young, so yeah. I feel like that's an upgrade over Tim Hardaway. Man, you talked about him like he's just a streaky guy. Like sometimes he can get it going offensively, then it just goes different times where you don't even know he's on a team anymore. So yeah, it was a huge pickup. I feel like for sure. Hmm. Andre Drummond.
In the mood for a cheesesteak. Let's go back here. See what everybody is saying. It's crazy. Andre Drummond, the first player to switch teams.
I know, right? I feel like Kevin Love signing with the Heat was a no brainer, honestly. At
Yeah,
this
he's been
stage of his career,
pretty
anyway.
good for
So
them.
yeah.
I guess we should go to maybe latest.
Yeah, no, free agency in 2024. I seen that they had Shaq up there, bro. Shaq with the Celtics.
Dead ass though.
Yeah, you miss me.
What do you think about that rumor of Westbrook to the Nuggets?
So the Nuggets, yeah, I just was going to talk about that. Well, they traded Reggie Jackson, so I mean, I would love it, depending on what they would have to give up, because they technically they don't have a backup point guard at the moment. So I feel like it'll be a good fit for him to get by into that 6-man role. So yeah, I would love it.
Yeah, it's just
Andre
all
Drummond.
Drummond, right? The biggest free agency signing of
Let's
the
go,
beginning of
man.
free agency.
This is the most Andre Drummond got paid in a while, though, man.
Yeah, I feel like he's been. I know when we signed him, he was on a minimum.
Hmm. And I know he's been with the Bulls. They've been giving him the minimum as well. Also, other teams too. So
Yeah, maybe we'll pull it back up when more stuff happens.
yeah,
That
because at
is
the
crazy, man.
moment everything is dry right now, bro. Like,
Yeah,
I
somebody
think
tweeted out free agency is better when teams tamper. Yeah, easily.
so. A report just came out that the Sixers thought they had a trade for Drummond back at the deadline in February. So no surprise, the veteran center is now nearing a 2-year, $10 million plus, 10 million plus million deal. So yeah. So y'all was
Backup
interested in
center.
getting him at the deadline.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because we needed him. And so it makes me feel good to know that Maury was trying to do the right thing there at the deadline. Because we missed out on him in that sense.
Yeah.
So basically, he's getting 2 years, 10 million. I'm interested if it's like 5 million each year, or if that contract is like back. I don't know if the NBA can do that. Like Howie Roseman, I'm an Eagles fan. Like he can backload contracts into other years and stuff. I don't know
Yeah.
if NBA can do that, but let's just say it is 5 million per year. Then that would leave you with roughly 9-ish million. If you do sign Paul George to like a max contract.
Yeah, I can see that. I think Westbrook going to the Nuggets is a done deal, bro. I'm seeing too many reports from reliable sources. Can't even lie.
So Russ to the
I'm seeing a lot of reliable
Nuggets.
sources, man.
Those are really the only ones that are like surfacing here. What do you think about the report that Donovan Mitchell was looking at signing an extension in Cleveland rather than pursuing a trade out?
Say that again.
Donovan Mitchell, the report that he's like looking for an extension in Cleveland rather than like finding a trade. Everybody thought he would want
Um,
to be traded this offseason, but he might sign a 4-year extension now.
I love it actually. I mean, I think me and you talked about this numerous of times. Like if things don't work out, he shouldn't just be in a hurry to just like seek out a trade or anything. Like he could just stay in Cleveland and they just like rebuild around him. Like they got a lot of nice and valuable assets down there. So yeah, I love him trying to like get an extension done with them.
Yeah, I do think like there comes a certain point, man, where you just gotta like stop switching teams. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like just kind of
yeah,
battle it out and
yeah,
do what you got to do. There's a point where you turn into a villain, right? And you can either accept that and go to the team with another star that you want to play with, whatever the case may be. Or you can kind of tough it out and try to win it on your own terms. And
yeah,
that's what it looks like Donovan Mitchell's kind of doing. They do have a decent core. Like, it's not like they don't. They could trade Darius Garland, which I think they should do. And you have Evan Mobley, you have Jared Allen there. You just got to build around that and keep adding shooting in there, space the floor.
yeah. I mean, they got like you said, pieces. They got Max, Levert. You could easily move the other guy's contract for like a star or something. Obviously, we have to add, but you hit it on the head too. Like you can't just be switching teams neither. I mean, Paul Pierce, he's with the Celtics for a long time before he won his first ring, man.
Yeah,
So sometimes
exactly.
you just got to be patient, man, and just stick it through. Like, cause sometimes you can put yourself in a predicament where if you go to another team and it may not turn out to be going very well. I mean, if you look at it, Westbrook is technically a perfect example of this. If we've been honest here, like ever since he left the Thunder, things just been kind of shaky, and it's not his fault necessarily, but yeah, things been
Yeah.
trending down instead of going up. So
There's cases in a lot of different, like, on each sides of the spectrum, right? Like you mentioned Westbrook, you talk about Dame Lillard in Portland, right?
yep,
Goes to Milwaukee, still a great player, right? He showed that towards the end of the season, especially. But is he that player that he was in Portland anymore? And that's the big question. Now he leaves. Is it too late for Dame to have left for him to get a solid chance at that ring? We don't know yet, right? Giannis wasn't healthy
yeah,
last year. Um, but no, and then even you have like Dirk Nowitzki in Dallas, right? He decided to stick around there, got the championship in 2011, I believe, after a long career in Dallas. So it does work out sometimes it doesn't, man. And that's what you kind of got to weigh out here.
yeah, for sure.
Oh man, this is yeah, I think we can all start the petition to bring tampering back into the scene here, make things a little bit more exciting. It just feels like
Kevin Porter Jr.
why make this like huge build up to the 6 p.m. mark, and then
Yeah, man. Right.
there's
Yeah.
nothing to report yet. Like, I know we're being impatient. I know myself. I need this Paul George thing to get done already.
Yeah,
But
man. But
like, damn,
if we're going to wait this late, bro, like, come on, man. We need something better than this, bro. Like, this supposed to be the funnest time of the year, at least to start off, anyway. I mean, I remember like last
right?
year and the year before that, like when free agency first started, it was so many signings going on, you couldn't keep up with it. But speaking of signings, Kevin Porter Jr. just agreed to a 2-year deal with the Los Angeles Clippers, including a
What?
player option. So yeah, he's back in the league. Yeah, he's back.
Interesting. I'm not gonna sit here and appropriate anything that he like did off the court, but I did find it interesting, like from a standpoint of like Miles
Miles
Bridges, for
Bridges.
example, still
Yeah,
in the
but
league. Why is Kevin Porter Jr.? Like I said, I'm not gonna get into the
yeah,
extents that each went off the
um,
court, but he is good enough to play in the league. I was surprised
yeah,
he
for
didn't get
sure.
another chance.
Yeah,
So
man, he earned that contract. Like he had a career year before he got waived. So yeah, and from the reports I was seeing with the Miles Bridges thing, he was found not guilty. So I don't know, man.
yeah, it's like you just like, do we still stain his reputation for that? It
Yeah.
is that stuff is tough. It's tough
Oh
to.
yeah. So speaking, of, we didn't talk about this. So what are your thoughts on Obi Toppin signing a 4-year, $60 million deal to stay with the Pacers?
I think it fits kind of the report that came out of Indiana the other night. Basically saying that they want to kind of just keep their core together that they built throughout the season. They added Pascal Siakam to that mid-season. And they want to give these guys time to grow together. The Andrew Nemhards, the Benedict Mathurins, right? Tyrese Halliburton still young. And so you bring back Obi Toppin and you lose an Isaiah. Correct me if I'm wrong. Excuse me, not Isaiah. Jalen
Jalen
Smith.
Smith. Yeah, Jalen
Jalen
Smith.
Smith. Excuse me. You lose Jalen Smith most likely to free agency. You end up replacing him, or not replacing him, but that's Obi Toppin's going to be your backup power forward going forward.
Yeah.
And so to that point, I think it was a good deal. Honestly, I think they did what they needed to do, especially if they're not planning to do too much in free agency.
The light has come on. Yeah.
We bring a spark into the show. We're getting a little
Yeah,
dry
man.
here.
Whoa, but it's perfect timing, bro.
What's
What
up,
the hell,
boys?
bro? That's crazy, bro.
What's up, fellas?
What is good, man? Welcome
What's
to the
good,
show.
man? Welcome to the
Obviously, don't know who all watches DSM Media, but Dylan hopping over from DSM Media to join us here on the NBA to the Galaxy pod, man. How you feeling though? Stressed out?
Good to be here, boys. Appreciate you. I miss tampering. I could tell you that. It's a little slow.
The biggest signing we get is Andre Drummond to the Sixers, man.
I'm good with it. I like it a lot so far. I don't know how much it has to do with them knowing the situation when it comes to Paul George or not yet, but I'm happy with the first move of free agency for the Sixers.
Yeah, $5 million a season. I don't think it should have an impact on Paul George, but let's see here. Don't be surprised.
You guys been going for an hour and 10, huh?
Butler declined the Heat offer to go free agency. I don't think that's possible this year.
No, you can't.
That would be next year if they don't get an extension done. But yeah, man, an hour and 11 minutes, and the most we've gotten is some Kevin Porter Jr. to the LA Clippers and Andre Drummond to the Sixers. But I think we're all just like waiting for this Paul George. Like I think everybody is waiting for the Paul George.
But like, let me ask you guys a question though. Like I heard, Woj and Windhorst and them were talking about that, and I kind of understand it. But in reality, if it's really only the Sixers, the Magic, and possibly the Clippers still in the mix, how does that affect everyone else from starting to get active?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's interesting because I guess when you think about like the Klay Thompson thing and like
Right.
supposedly he's meeting with the Sixers as well tonight or whatever. Obviously, I think if you sign Paul George, you're probably not signing Klay Thompson, even though it is technically possible. So yeah, I do think that's like part of it. Like, I don't know, man. Like, how would you feel about like Klay Thompson as like a consolation prize to Paul George? Like, are we beyond that now? Like, I feel like we're in too deep with Paul George right now.
Yeah, I mean, I will gladly take Klay Thompson on a cheap $15-16 million a year type of deal if I'm a Sixers fan. But in terms of like PG decides to go back to the Clippers for that 3-year offer, and Brandon Ingram gets traded to the Kings and whatever, Klay Thompson at this point isn't solving too many of the Sixers' issues, man. So
yeah.
How possible is it to get PG on the max and say, like, what if Klay signed for like 14, like a year, like 2 years, 30 million or something like that? Is that?
I think that I was telling Slim earlier, I saw that if they sign Paul George to a max contract, they should have like roughly 14 to 15 million left over. So they gave roughly 5 million to Andre Drummond.
Right.
So it doesn't seem as possible.
Is that before going over the threshold? I'm assuming I don't know. I'm not the money guy of the podcast, bro.
Yeah,
I don't know how the first apron and the second apron and all that stuff works, but I'm assuming that's like before they go over the tax. They have 14 million. They would have 14 million to play with at that point.
Yeah, and see, I think that is also we got to factor in like the new CBA too. Is like
right.
It feels like everybody's getting penalized more for everything. So like how likely are teams going to be willing to go into that?
Yeah. I don't know, boys. We might be on here till 6 a.m. waiting for Paul George to sign with somebody.
It is lame, man.
Is
It
that
is
the
lame.
goal?
Yeah, I mean,
Goal of this free agency watch?
I mean, blame CJ McCollum and Grant Williams, bro. Like they're the main reason that we're going through this shit right now, man. It's ridiculous, man. Like they approved this new CBA, man. So it's just crazy, man.
Curvin Abreu says he remembers when Kawhi Leonard and Paul George were supposed to deliver championships to the Clippers.
Yeah,
it is crazy to think about that. All ending, man.
Like we think, Scotty. We have
to move from the West to the East Coast, man. What were you saying though? Go ahead.
I'm saying we think we have it like a raw deal as Sixers fans, bro. Like imagine being a Clipper fan. And, like, your team, I forget what I saw, like, all the draft picks and SGA and everything they had given up over the years to acquire Paul George. And, like, you just bail out, like, mid-mission, you hit the eject button and you're getting rid of, and you're done with Paul George.
It is interesting. That's what Slim and I were talking about a little bit earlier, though, is, what were the Clippers really offering Paul George to stay? Like, 3 years and what he wants, or is it that extra year that was kind of the difference there? But I don't know. There's you could be on two different sides of the spectrum right now. You could be on the Sixers side with all this cap space, a lot of rumors, or you could be on the Warriors side right now, man, where you don't really know what's coming next. They might end up. Maybe the Sixers ought to wait out for Steph Curry. Like,
whoa. Hold up now, man. Hold up. I mean, unless y'all include Tyrese Maxey, then we. Yeah, okay, then you know.
Nah, you're probably right. We probably would have to include that. So
yeah,
I would probably back
rebuild
out
mode.
Do you want me to go pack Maxey's bags now, or do you want me
It's fine with me. I mean, it's.
I mean, I get it, Scotty, but like if we were talking about bringing Steph here for 3 years or so.
I ain't doing it, man. I'll tell you that now. I ain't doing it. I'm keeping Maxey. Wait. I know it might sound crazy. I know, but I'm keeping Maxey. I'm keeping the young prodigy that can give us 30 points a night. I'm keeping him.
But you know what I love about Scotty? My favorite quality? He's loyal, man. He is a loyal motherfucker.
Yeah, he is a loyal.
Certain players, yeah.
To a certain, I was just finna say he's loyal to a certain extent because I was just finna bring up Tobias Harris. So, I mean, like, what route should the Sixers look to? Should they look to give him the max contract or what, man? Because
I'll let Dylan give his answer. We've been down this rabbit hole.
And I promise.
No, I don't. Listen. I'm not. He's trolling, right? I'm assuming.
I don't know. He says it so often. I don't know if he's trolling or not. Like, I really don't. So that's for him to answer. But I don't know. Tobias apparently has interest from like 4 different teams or so.
Hey, that's good, man. He can go play next to Lowry Marketing. He can do his thing in Utah.
Ruin his life.
Somewhere down there. Yeah.
Yeah, Potential sign and trade deals, though.
What do you think would happen if Daryl Morey even floated the idea of Tobias Harris coming back here, Scotty?
I think, there's Sixers fans out there that are like, fire Daryl Morey, do this, do that right now. That would turn up to like a different level if they brought Tobias Harris back. Mark Stein reported that Philly is expected to use its cap space first before officially signing Andre Drummond. Drummond still goes down as the first free agent to verbally switch teams in 2024.
Wait, I don't know how legit this is, but somebody said KCP leaving the Nuggets and heading to the Orlando Magic on a 3-year deal.
I don't see that about KCP, but it could be. I do know that the Magic were one of the teams linked to him.
What'd you say, though? It was a 3-year deal for him?
Oh, yeah.
It's a 3-year deal.
Yeah, Legion Hoops. Contavious Caldwell-Pope signing with the Magic 3 years.
How much?
Doesn't say.
Interesting. If it's 75, $80
So
million.
KCP
That would
got his
make
bag. Yeah.
sense. How do y'all like that fit? It's a little disappointing from my view, but I didn't think like with Paul George we had too much of a realistic chance at him. But
Right.
I don't know. With Orlando, it's everything they need. I mean, they need floor spacing, shooting. Obviously, defense will always help. But so interesting. This Keith Smith
Yo,
NBA.
can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My shit blacked out for a minute.
Oh no. Yeah, I didn't even notice. But yeah, you're good. I can hear you. It says here, Keith Smith NBA. He says Philly's transactions are going to be a bit hard to slot until we see all of them. They have a bunch of different ways to structure things.
Yeah.
Order of operations will go use all of the cap space, re-sign Tyrese Maxey, use the room exception. So maybe that's what Drummond is, and then sign minimums. So maybe Drummond is the exception, but after they use all the cap space, the Paul George and whatever's left, then it's going to be the Maxey extension. Just by the way, they can use up the most money, you know? So that's interesting. So that does kind of like, depending on Clay's price, or maybe it's not Clay. Maybe you go down to the next option, like a Gary Trent Jr. or something at your 2-guard spot. So you still have like 14, 15 million, even with Drummond.
Oh, dude, if they go get me PG and Gary Trent Jr., Scotty, we're partying tomorrow, brother.
Yeah, we're partying fucking hard.
It's 3 years, 66 mil for KCP, so 22 a pop. Little over what they valued them at 20 mil, but you know, right. So put it this way, at that number, the Sixers realistically have no shot for KCP and Paul George, because I don't know.
He's going for the bag too.
Yeah, the tweets earlier where that they were, obviously priority number one is Paul George, but they're also eyeing and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. That's not happening. I do want to say, shout out to you guys, bro. There are over 600 people watching right now. If you don't already, get your asses over to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the NBA, to the Galaxy Pod, and subscribe to DSM Media on YouTube.
Yes, sir. That's a good call out here. Got to keep everybody invested here. Slim, you all good, man? You going in and out of the stream and shit?
Bro. I had to make a quick run right quick, bro. My bad.
Oh, no worries. Hey, we've been on here long enough for bathroom breaks are appropriate. So it's all good, man.
So the KCP actually signed for
66 mil.
Yeah, I just got the notification. Wow. So 22. Where do Denver go from here though? Like you just lost your best, defender. So I mean, where do you go from here?
I don't know. Russell Westbrook, I guess. They already lost Bruce Brown the year before that.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah.
So you start looking at that championship team. Maybe it's that Christian Braun guy we always talk about, Dylan. Maybe he's got to step up and become a bigger piece there.
Yeah, maybe they look to make some moves, man. Because I've been seeing some reports about MPJ. Maybe he be on his way out.
It's not a horrible idea by them. I feel that.
Maybe you can get some pieces. He got a pretty huge contract.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, what does his contract look like? Maybe we could bring him in, but nah, not for a big contract. I'm not doing that.
Your boy's available for trade.
Who's that?
PJ Tucker.
Oh yeah, that's definitely his boy, man. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find this thing right quick.
My boy.
Daddy's got a couple.
PJ Tucker. Who the hell's going to trade for him? What does that offer? Like what?
What I wanted to bring up, like between some of these Clipper mistakes, between what Chicago has done, obviously, like with us getting Drummond, they moved Caruso a couple weeks ago. Like, just again, I know we feel like we have it bad here, and we do. Like, you can't get past the second round.
Yeah.
Haven't been to a chip in 24, 23 years, right? Haven't won one in over 40 years. But, like, the Chicago Bulls could have traded Andre Drummond for multiple second-round picks, possibly, like, a future first for the Sixers at the trade deadline. Instead, let him walk, and then he signs with the Sixers 5 months later.
Nothing. Yeah.
Like,
it is funny, man.
You're just poorly ran. Like
It is, and I do just wonder how much of that is going around the NBA, man. Because like it does. It seems like there's a lot of like really, really poorly ran organizations. I don't know if you saw that Andre Iguodala interview recently in the clip on 7 p.m. in Brooklyn, but he was talking about basically when he got to the Sixers with Allen Iverson, they didn't even have like their own practice facility. Like they had to go practice at like local colleges that were open, local gyms that could like create an opening for them at night. They didn't get like served breakfast or lunch or anything whenever they would come in to work out and stuff. And like he said, once he got traded to Denver, he was like, holy shit, like this is what it's supposed to be like in the NBA. And kind of shit on the Sixers a little bit. That's a long time ago. Those were the Allen Iverson, Andre Iguodala days. But
every time of days, you know.
yeah. What makes you say that, Darius? I'm curious where the Kyrie plug came from here.
So who would they give up? MPJ? Because I'm sure they wouldn't give up Murray, right?
MPJ? I mean, I'm not doing that. If I'm the Mavericks, you know what I mean? But
nah, they have no reason to trade Kyrie, I feel like.
yeah, I don't see why they would do that. That's not even I'm curious why he said that. That's not a good fit with Jamal Murray, but I guess you could like swap Jamal Murray and Kyrie if you wanted to. I don't know if I would. I don't know. That's interesting. That's an interesting thought. Like Jamal Murray or Kyrie Irving. I'm curious why he brought that up, but
do you think DeMar DeRozan signs by today?
you have to think. I don't know. It depends. Have we seen any reports of who is actually interested in DeRozan?
Actually, he's like one of the more quieter free agents. I haven't honestly seen anything about him. If we've been honest here,
because I mean, I know one of the rumors was like the LA Clippers. And so if it's the Clippers, then once again, we are waiting on Paul George to decide. You know what I mean? Like that would make a little bit more sense on that front. But I just don't know how realistic that would be for them to actually get DeRozan. And I heard Dylan laughing there. It's like, yeah, the Clippers, man, they're an interesting they're like interesting competition for like poorly ran organizations.
I don't know why like I let this like slip my mind. I was looking at it from like a Sixers perspective and not their opponent perspective. It just clicked that KCP is going to the Magic. You know what I mean? I only looked at it. I'm like, oh, the Sixers could have made it work because he went for 22 mil. Not like, oh, the Magic were the other team offering a max potentially, and they would have signed KCP for 22 a year. So like,
I like the fit though.
Yeah, I do because like
what I'm saying, like that puts them out of Paul George market. I would assume.
Yeah, absolutely. They could not offer the max, which he's not going to go to Orlando.
Yeah, defensively though, like a KCP and Suggs backcourt is pretty nice.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty. It kind of balances them out a little bit more as well. So I mean, if they go out and try to go the other route, like. I don't know, like how good can the Magic get without another star? Like, is their core that like good enough to, you know what I mean? Like compete with the upper of the Eastern Conference? Like,
I feel like they would probably have to make like some moves though.
Yeah, like I hate to say it because I do like Franz Wagner, but like, is there a move where you can get, pair him with something to get like an all-star level player? Like, I don't know.
Like a Laura Markkinen or something. Yeah, I would do that though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laurie's an interesting fit with Paolo, though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's a floor spacer, you know.
Be interesting to see what the Magic end up doing.
Man.
The rest of this. Still got quality free agents out there.
I envy you, man, because not only you're a Warriors fan, right? That's what I've gathered from the pod and all.
Yeah.
I envy you not only for your fucking dynasty that you had, but I also envy that you don't have to deal with Sixers Twitter. I don't know what Warriors Twitter is like, but dealing with Sixers Twitter is a little different. And Scotty, like, I'm still seeing it. Like, people are still tweeting, like, they're really going to do this. They're really going to sign Paul George. This is a mistake and blah, blah. And it's all the same people that we discussed or replied to or talked with over the last year that were talking about punting on the 2024 season because they had all this cap space and all this flexibility this offseason, who clearly just weren't paying attention to who was going to be available and what the Sixers could actually do. And now they're unhappy with what's available. I can't take it, man.
I feel you, man.
All you got to do is a quick Google search on who the free agents are going to be for this summer and who could possibly be using up some of that cap space for the Sixers. And now all of a sudden they're all upset. I said it before, I'll say it again. Even if Jimmy Butler was available via trade, whatever, Paul George is the best possible fit today between Maxey and Embiid. 4 years from now, I will worry about the goddamn contract. Embiid might not be a Sixer. He might be hurt again. Who knows how much more Maxey develops. Maybe they don't win a goddamn thing. I'll worry about that when I'm 30 years old. I'm not worrying about that today.
I feel you, man. I do. And, it was always the case because you get him for free. I mean, not free, but you know what I mean. You're not giving up anything outside of money.
Free, but you don't have to give up any of your assets.
Are you surprised, like, some of these smaller signings, though, just aren't happening? Like a Kyle Lowry?
Yeah, but to your point about, like, the order in which the Sixers are going to use their money.
He's a minimum.
Lowry's going to be a vet min probably. Like, that stuff will probably come later. How do you feel? I mean, obviously, I'm sure you guys talked about it, but the Batum tweet, man, how do you feel about that?
Well, Scotty said he don't want to play with PG, so,
Hey, it's just an idea that came to mind. Like, it is kind of a 180, but I guess Batum never really gave us any indication that he would, definitely be back or anything.
I mean, I just go back and look at, like, the delay in which, like, he came over and the personal issues and, like, the rumors that, like, his wife did not want to come here.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't know how long he's been married.
Laying it all out.
His family and children situation is like, but if the old lady says she don't want to live in Philadelphia, bro.
Yeah.
Nico Batum's either retiring or going elsewhere because at this point, he's not going to put up that fight.
And at their age, if you have the option to live in the West Coast, the better weather, and you're gonna want that. So I do get it. And he does get the Olympics this offseason, so he can kind of like go out with a bang with France and go that route. But it was disappointing though, because he was always in like those ideas of starting lineups with Paul George. So that takes one option away. Kelly Oubre, we don't know what's going on with him just yet. So it is interesting. But Keith Smith, once again, reiterating, talking to teams and agents, here's what is being cited for the slow start. Fines for jumping the gun, the tampering. Teams are being very cautious with the aprons and potential hard caps. And the PG domino will impact so many teams.
Yeah,
so.
It really will. Yeah, it really will, man.
We're going to be waiting.
Maybe the Sixers have like a lot of deals lined up right now, but they're just waiting to see if the Paul George thing go through so they can like execute.
I would assume so, man. I would have to assume so.
I would kill to like be in that room, like just to like know what's going on and like what the offers are. Like I would kill to be part of that and know what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, at least you can do that, So,
Scotty, bro, I gotta ask, and Slim too. Like, put aside the contract in 4 years from now, 3 years from now, but just like today, starting the season come October. I don't what is the pushback from Paul George, the player, today? That's where I'm getting disconnected with like this fan base, because it's not just the contract they're talking about. They don't want Paul George here. He's not not a winner talk, this and that. He's a dude that as a third option can average 20 plus on 40+% from three, 5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, a steal a game. And when needed, if Joel Embiid's hurt, if Joel needs a night off, or, Max and Joel are just off, when needed, Paul George can score 35 plus points. What is the pushback on Paul George, the player, today in 2024? I don't get it.
Well, I think me and Scotty like kind of talked about it, and maybe it's like more so the accountability, like lack of accountability standpoint, like
the personality.
Yeah, he did say, like on his podcast, he said a lot of interesting things. Like if you would just like
Yeah.
paid attention to it, so that's the only reason. Maybe like health concerns, but other than that, I mean, I don't see a reason why he wouldn't fit,
Right.
especially like playing alongside Joel Embiid and Maxey. So
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. I think one, obviously Paul George, his reputation. I mean, playoff P versus, the other side
way
of
out
playoff
P.
P, the other side of the spectrum. Obviously the injury concerns, you mix that with like Joel Embiid and his injury concerns, but then I think it's also just like the Sixers fan base has been tormented by bad move after bad move that you just start to think that every move is going to be the bad move after move after move. Like, and it, to an extent, it has played out like that, but you got to stay optimistic and you got to go with
I
what is
prefer
best
just
in the
be
moment,
naive
man.
and just
Yeah,
assume.
that's kind of what it is, right? You got to
I
assume
just,
that
man,
you're
I'm just
bringing in.
going through, like, we know he averaged 22 a game. I'm just going through like his game logs, and like there's just so many instances of 39, 28, 31, 27, 28, 41, 33. And it's like, brother, that's next. There's some of those next to Harden and Kawhi, Russell Westbrook. There's all these guys there. Like, Tobias Harris could just never, like, never, ever, ever.
Never.
So it's like you replace Tobias Harris as a third option
Some people
Yeah,
with
compare him to
history.
Tobias Harris, which is
that's
Oh
crazy.
my
But
God.
that's actually a great way to look at it though. Like
Yeah.
you would rather have PG over Tobias, so that's fair. Like you can
like,
definitely look
give
at
us
it
the
from that
same
standpoint.
exact team as last year and just switch out PG and
Yeah,
Tobias
that's
Harris.
a great way to view it. Yeah.
Not going to happen, but I
Well,
mean, if it
and here's the
did,
thing, right? We already know the Drummond signing, so you hopefully, knock on wood, solved a little bit of the non-Joel Embiid minutes in the
yeah,
postseason with not getting crushed on the glass and everything. So it's like, yeah, it is looking at it from last season's point of view and like replacing Tobias with PG, but it's also like you're already improving the, you know, within the, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like within the boundaries of the roster.
well, and that's the thing as well, is like, if you're going to argue that you don't want Paul George, then you have to have like an alternative. And the problem with a lot of these people that say no to Paul George, they also say no to Brandon Ingram, they say no to Klay Thompson, and they say no to everyone. So it's like, well, then you just won't have a team then, and that's fine. Go be a fan somewhere else, because I need to watch a team get fielded and know what we're gonna do.
Correct.
But it is funny, man. It's like, if there's no good options, then let's just sit out of the offseason, right, and never do anything. I even saw somebody tweeted out, that they think this Paul George, and it was from a Wizards fan, by the way. They said that they think that this Paul George signing will be the first domino towards Embiid's departure.
All right. I mean,
Hmm.
I mean, possibly, because like, all right, if it doesn't work out with Paul George and Maxey over the next 2 seasons or so, then yeah, maybe he gets tired here. But I mean, I will say this: Paul George potentially adds an interesting dynamic of pressure to Joel Embiid's legacy, because Paul George comes here and doesn't shit the bed, like, meaning like Paul George comes here and shoots 40% from 3, plays 65 to 70 games this regular season, is available for the postseason, plays well in the postseason, and they still can't get it done, depending on what Joel looks like and everything in his health. Like, that adds another dimension of like, well, now it's not just the roster creation. Now it's
There's
not
no excuses.
about the coaching. It's why can't we get it done with you if Paul George kind of balls out as that third option.
Yeah.
Now, Paul George ends up coming here and averages 16 points a game and shoots 36% from 3. Now we can look at it and go, well, they got Paul George when he was 35 years old. It was bad.
That's still going to be blamed on Embiid, though. It will. Yeah. They're going to blame Embiid for making Paul George, his numbers come down. Like, that's just the way it works. Because it's funny, as you were talking there, I'm just sitting here thinking, and I'm like, well, like, the way Philly fans feel about Paul George, like, how many years away are we from people feeling that way about Joel Embiid? Like, just this perennial loser, never gets out of the second round, like, injured all the time. Like, they're very I know Embiid's won an MVP. That's probably the biggest difference that you could have. between the two players
I
is
mean,
like their
wasn't
ceilings, but
didn't PG get to? Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he
Eastern
take
Conference Finals.
Indiana to the Eastern Conference Finals against Miami back then? They battled Miami. I can't remember if it was the
Yeah, I
second
can't
time in the Eastern
remember.
Conference Finals, but they
With
battled
Danny
Miami
Granger.
for like 2 or 3 straight postseasons in the East.
Yeah,
And Roy
he had
Hibbert
some long
and
runs.
David West and George
Danny
Hill,
Granger.
Danny Granger. Yep.
Yeah, those were the days, man. But it is interesting when you think of it that way. Like if let's say Joel Embiid was being traded to like another contender.
Right.
Now, mind you, because it's not Philly, they probably wouldn't say this. They probably wouldn't say this, but or let's just pretend it was Embiid that we were trying to trade for. Let's put it that way. And we have somebody that's like Embiid on our team already, right? Philly fans would say that he's never going to be healthy in the postseason. He's not reliable in the postseason. He's a playoff
1000%.
choker. Like, this is what they would say about a guy like that. Now, I know Embiid, he's younger, right? He's like 30, 31-ish, I believe, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember how old he is exactly right now. But it's just interesting to think about the way we view players. But I say that it's probably just a Philly thing, man, because I'm sure the Orlando Magic fans would be ecstatic to get Paul George. So it might just be a Philly thing. Dallas Mavericks fans would be ecstatic to get Paul George. Wow. Slim, a Warriors fan, wanted Paul George on the Warriors.
Yeah. Listen, man, as a Philly fan, like, we are very knowledgeable, I think, overall as a fan base. Like, you can't, like, we talk about all the time when Nick Sirianni speaks to like, you can't fool a Philly fan. Like, we are one of the more knowledgeable fan bases, but there are a large portion of this fan base that thinks they are far too knowledgeable and understand what it's like to be a GM or whatever.
Trust me, man. Trust me, I know, bro. Like, being a Warriors fan, bro, this shit is crazy, bro. I call it mental masturbation. Like, some of these guys, they hook up trades. Man. You got to be reasonable, bro. Like, some of these trades I see on the timeline is crazy, bro. Like, it takes two to tango, bro. Like, as you can see with the Paul George thing, like, we offered them some pretty good deals, but
if that's legit, they're kind of crazy.
They offered Kuminga, which is crazy.
I saw
Wiggins, think that's crazy.
and Kuminga.
Yeah, Wiggins and Kuminga. 2 of your wings for him, which is crazy.
Now, how much of that do you think was Paul George just not opting in, though?
Nah, I think he would have been with that, honestly.
Yeah,
if they were going to give him the right amount of money.
Yeah, we was going to extend him like right after. So
yeah, I think he would have been with it. Stay on the West Coast. I think he would have opted for it, honestly. But I'm glad they couldn't get it done. I'm glad the Clippers helped us out there.
Let me ask you, right? Who would you prefer maybe as that 2 guard next to Maxey on a cheaper deal? Caleb Martin or Gary Trent Jr.?
I'll probably go Gary Trent Jr. just because fit circumstances, and he might be a little bit cheaper. I'm not sure. Caleb Martin's interesting. I would take either, to be clear, but his 3-point shooting, it's a little streaky for my money, right? And you talk about fits, it's like you'd like to have another like prolific 3-point shooter. Like, just think about having to guard like Tyrese Maxey, Gary Trent Jr., and then Paul George, like from the 3-point line, and then whoever you have at the 4. I don't know. But I hate
that I'm getting like excited about the Sixers.
I am too. Don't get me wrong. This is one of those things that which you were asking about earlier. I just saw this post on Paul George, and they have 3 different quotes up from him, and it says, "My goal is to win one here. I never want to leave Indy. I'm here to stay. We can bring this home," on him re-signing with OKC.
Yeah.
This is where my heart is. I want to retire a Clipper about the Clippers. So, like, I think that's all part of it, too, just like the wishy-washiness. I don't know, though. It is interesting because he is that prototypical, that prototypical wing that you look for in this day and age. So, what did you think about this? I know my answer. But would you take DeRozan if PG fell through? I honestly lean no, man. I think at that point, I would rather go like the multiple role player route.
The fit is just so bad, right?
Yeah.
Like, The
Yeah.
dude literally doesn't
Worse
shoot.
than Tobias,
He does
honestly.
not shoot from beyond the 3-point line. Hardly ever. That's
The
not.
the fit is worse than Tobias. I think he would still put up better numbers than
He's a much
Tobias.
better
Yeah,
player than
easily.
He's a
Tobias.
better player,
Yeah,
but
easily, yeah. He would give you out like 20.
yeah, I think he could find a way to give us 20. But the
Yeah, I
fit
think
would just be
he's
real
too good
clunky.
and too savvy of a basketball player not to get his. But like when we're looking at this roster, right? And what do we keep saying? Like the Jared McCain pick. The Sixers need shooting. They added
Yeah.
shooting to Jared McCain. Look at DeMar DeRozan. The dude literally doesn't step out behind the arc.
he doesn't shoot.
How is that supposed to work, man? What are you going to like swap sets? Like one set, Joel steps out and DeRozan goes to work in isolation. Another time, Joel gets on the block. DeRozan just stands in the fucking corner. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
it sounds
that
really
would
gross,
work.
man. See, and that's where I would pivot, and that's where I'm looking at like Brandon Ingram. Like, let's not let him go out to Sacramento. He can come on up to Philly and play up here. That's where I would be at that point.
Right.
But I think Brandon Ingram, I think that, I know they're talking about Sacramento Kings, which does make a little bit of sense. But I think the Warriors should take a swing at him, man. I really do. I think with a fit like that with Steph Curry, I think it might look a little bit better than what it did.
I mean, it's better than nothing at this point. I mean, we waive.
That's where you.
Yeah, I mean, we waive CP. I mean, Clay, he's good and gone. So I don't know, man.
Oh, don't get so down, man. You had some great years.
Brother, I don't know if you meant to use the word good instead of hood. Your boy shot 25% from three last
year. Yeah. And probably shot maybe 1 or 2 a game, maybe. So that means he's probably went like 1 for 10 from the 3-point line last year.
If you were just I'm sorry. That was his first year, 2009. I was all the way down. Last year he shot 33.3% from three.
All right.
He is a career 29.6% 3-point shooter.
Yeah, not what you're ideally looking for.
Negatory. Not a chance, Scotty. He's never shot 34% or better from 3-point land in his career. One time he shot 35, in 2021, 2022. That was his career high on 1.9 attempts per game.
About to pull up some of these free agents here. I just want to see the full list.
Man, what is going on right now, man?
Bro, I'm not trying to argue. I'm just telling you, he shot 32% from three. I hate to break that one. Numbers.
He made 90. Oh, he made 90 plus threes last year. Is that like real? Did he do that?
I don't know, but I'm going to keep repeating myself. He shot 32% from 3-point land last year.
Because if he made 90 play, he had to shoot a bunch at that clip. But
I mean, I think he shot around 2 per game. So I don't know how I don't know. He could have. I mean, it's an 82 game season. Plus plus 2 play-in games. I ain't arguing that he made 93s. I'm just telling you he's not a good 3-point shooter. I don't know what else to say. He shot 32%. He's a career 29% for 3-point shooter.
Hey, whatever. He's not the ideal fit.
Not that, yeah. It's one of the worst that you could have. But like you said, as a consolation, I guess, if Paul George decides to go back to LA on a 3-year deal, if Clay goes to the Lakers or somewhere,
1-year deal.
KCP already signed. Like, I mean, at that point, I'm not going to scoff. I can't really say like, hell no. You can't bring DeMar DeRozan here, but
you don't know what the basement looks like this offseason. Like, what does the basement for the Sixers look like this offseason? And that's where you get a little bit worried. But I guess before we get out of here, guys, we're approaching 2 hours, my man.
Scotty, we'll stay on all night, bro.
Waiting for that Paul George deal. We might be, man, but I just know as soon as we get off, it's gonna get announced and we're gonna be fucking blown. But
I guarantee you, bro. Like the moment we get off this shit, so many signings are going to happen, dude. Like,
At least
So,
that's what I'm hoping. Like, make my night exciting. Like, I'm really hoping that that's the case.
yeah.
But I'm thinking before we get out of here, maybe take a look at some of these top free agents remaining, and just making maybe some predictions around the
All of them.
horn here of where we not all of them. That would probably get us to the Paul George signing. But I'm thinking maybe we go through some of the top ones here, and maybe it's announced by the time we're
Tobias
done with
Harris,
it.
you know.
But yeah, hey, let's start with Tobias Harris since you love him so much,
Yeah.
Slim. Is he signing with the Warriors? Is he signing with the Mavs, the Clippers, the
Oh,
Pistons?
yeah, the
What do you think,
Sixers.
man?
You know, Sixers legend, man. About 3 years, 80 million. He could come back to Philly,
You want like fire. You want our city to be on like fire.
Bro, hold up, bro. Like, what's your problem with Tobias, man? Like, come on, man.
We've been through this. Dylan, if you want to answer it though,
Scored 0 points in a closeout game in the NBA playoffs.
that's enough right there.
Scored 2 in Game 6 last year at home against Boston.
That's your answer.
Yo, Scotty, what's that guy name? Is his name Brett? That guy he was arguing with last week. He said Tobias only took 2 shots or something like that.
Oh, Brett in the comments?
I don't know. It's some type of
It was
reporter.
like an NBA reporter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I responded to him, and
yeah, he said that he didn't get enough plays ran for him or something like that. I don't know.
Oh no, that's what went wrong.
Yeah, so I asked him how much is he being paid by TB12.
I believe it would be TH12.
TH12, yeah, I fucked that up all the way, man. I don't know why I went that route. It's nothing close to TB12.
You almost cooked.
Yeah, Tobias. I guess that's why. Tobias, Toby, TB.
Yeah.
But
nah.
Tuberculosis, more like that. But no, I think Tobias Harris, man, where does he end up out of like the places he's rumored? I just don't think the Sixers are going to do him a favor of a sign and trade. So I think he might end up on the goddamn Pistons. So like, I think that might be where he ends up with JB Bickerstaff out there. The Pistons.
I think he go to Detroit, man. I feel like it's a good spot for him, honestly.
Get his bag.
Down there,
it's a good loser spot. It's a bad team.
Nobody will pay attention to him.
No expectations. He can dominate the ball a little bit, dribble the ball through the fucking floor.
And eventually, at the trade deadline, the Sixers can look to reacquire him. You never know.
That is true. He might be having a career year at that point. Come February, maybe he's averaging.
No, you know what's more likely than Tobias Harris coming back this offseason or at the trade deadline or ever?
Don't say this, man.
Me signing a 10-day with the Sixers?
We signed Ben Simmons or trade for Ben Simmons to be the starting power forward of the team. That is more likely than Tobias Harris coming back to the Sixers. I truly believe.
Wow.
I would be more with that than bringing Tobias Harris back to the Sixers.
What's he rated on 2K now? 66 overall?
Yeah, I don't know how true that is, but
that's a good point. I have not seen this man play in years, so I would hold off on saying that. But still, I'd rather have neither of them than that. I would go that route. But GTA 6 dropping before Tobias comes back to the Sixers. Never. Then that's not even true either. Like it's because he's never coming back. Yeah. Like it's never gonna happen. But
what do you think happens wherever he signs? What do you think happens when he plays his first game back in Philly? Do you think we let him? Because I promise you, what's gonna happen, right? The Sixers are going to do one of those videos pregame, a tribute video for him, and I'm very interested to see if the city decides just to be you know what, whatever, and just give him a quick clap, or might hear some words. Might hear some words.
If it was 2 years ago, maybe, if we traded him in the middle of that contract, maybe then. But watching the last 2 postseasons with him, nah, not a chance. He's ruined way too much of our lives, to ever even think about giving him a little bit of applause, man.
Yeah,
Paul George.
A lot of time. Yeah, let's talk about somebody else, man.
Paul George. Last predictions for PG. Where's he going? You know where we think he's going. What do you think, Slim?
I think it's going to come down between. I think the Magic is. I think the Magic is out on it. So between the Sixers and
Clips.
Re-
If he takes
Re-signing with the Clippers, like that's the most obvious route. I feel like, but I think y'all will get him though. I don't think it makes sense to go back. I mean,
I like to hear that from you.
the team isn't
No.
changing, so I mean, it's going to like be running it back like him and Kawhi. So
yeah,
I feel like he due for like a change of scenery, like Joel. Obviously, I'm sure that y'all will extend Maxi, so Maxi and
Yeah.
PG. So yeah, I can see him going to Philly.
PG signs, we might be able to extend Maxi tonight.
good.
I don't
They
know.
may wait though. They may wait.
Yeah, I know. It probably won't happen all that fast. But
Yeah,
so
they don't know.
we all think Paul George is going to go to the Sixers. We all think that Tobias is going to go to the Pistons. What about you guys? Obviously, LeBron's staying.
Yeah,
He's
he's
still
staying
listed
with
as a free agent here for
Yeah,
some
thank
reason. I
I
guess the
mean,
more interesting thing for him is how much is that contract going to be? Like, how much of a pay cut is he going to take to help the team?
I know, right? How much? Like, I don't know. What did
Like
he
to
opt
make
out of? What would have been his opt-in? Like 51, I think I saw 49 or 51.
his opt-in was 49.5 million.
God damn.
And I mean, they were talking about him taking a pay cut to help get Clay. So what, like a $20 million pay cut? Like, is
yeah,
that
he would. Yeah,
I do-
20 million. Yeah,
that would just be the most Lakers thing to do. And like, I'm excited for JJ and like to see how that works out and all. But like, you want to talk about a team that obviously is still trying to like win now, like LeBron and AD
Yeah.
are there. But like, you have to push some youth into that franchise. And you already have LeBron and AD who are game time decisions, God, almost damn near every night. And now you're going to go out there and throw in 30-some-year-old Klay Thompson with his
getting old as hell out there?
ACL injuries.
yeah.
Is that where you guys think Klay Thompson ends up going? You think he ends up on the Lakers, or
I think between the Lakers and the Mavericks, though.
Mavericks are interesting.
It's just will the Warriors do like a sign and trade for him?
I would hope so because we would lose him for nothing. So
Right? Why wouldn't
Yeah.
they at that point? Yeah, that is a good point.
But if you're the Warriors, though, see, same thing with like why the Clippers wouldn't do the deal with the Warriors. If you're the Warriors, I mean, it all I guess
You're helping the Mavs.
Depends on what you view Clay as and how much of a threat you still view him as at this point in his career. But like, why would you help out the Lakers or the Mavs in a sign and trade?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like if you knew like dude, that's where he was going to go, you might as well get something out of it. But
Yeah.
like also, when you try to push him to a either non-contender or somewhere out east for the time being,
Could trade him to the Sixers, man. Paul
unless
Reed
like
and Council.
the relationship between them, you just do him. This favor.
Really, Scotty? Come on, man. Like,
What'd he say? I missed it.
Paul Reed and Ricky Council, maybe a draft pick or two.
Ah.
Klay Thompson, come on over.
A Dembona? You want a Dembona? I can throw him your way.
No, man, I'm good on that.
Some young forwards out there for you.
7'3" wingspan, bro.
No,
You guys don't have space for a 7'3" wingspan?
No, I'm sure we can get better, man.
Whatever, dude. Whatever.
Yeah. Maybe with the Mavs you could get like a Jaden Hardy and
I think it's a Josh Green and a Maxi Kleber like package, bro. Like that's the only thing that makes sense.
Who would you rather have, Jaden Hardy or Josh Green?
Fit wise, I would go Josh Green. I feel like we have enough like point guards. Well, because we got pods and stuff, so it wouldn't make sense to do.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, Josh Green would be the ideal player. I feel like.
I mean, I feel Darius's comment here, but the thing is, the way Clay feels, the Warriors have already dicked him in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, we offer him like 2 years, $48 million or something like that. So
he said he would give you Rui Hachimura for Clay.
That's interesting. I mean, as long as we don't like lose him for nothing, that'd be fine. Honestly,
that's better than nothing. Yeah, I would take.
Yeah, Rui. I mean, it's because if he like once his money is off the book, like we can just replace him with like minimum contract. So, I mean, I would take anything, honestly.
Yeah. Speaking of Lakers, not to interrupt the conversation, does Dalton Connect already have the best nickname in the NBA?
Definitely one of them for sure.
That's a solid ass thing. Connect 4.
Connect 4. Yeah,
Yeah,
that shit is
Connect
tough.
4. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, Connect 4.
That's the thing, man. They get Klay Thompson. All of a sudden, they have like some decent shooters around those guys out there.
Yeah,
Dalton
that's
Knecht,
true.
Austin Rivers, I'm sure is going to work on that 3-point shot this offseason.
Reeves.
Yeah, what did I just say? Rivers?
Yeah.
Yeah, what you
That PTSD,
what you sipping on over there, Scotty? Let the world see, man. What you drinking over there, bro?
I'm all out. It's been a 2-hour show. I haven't ran and got no more, but it's a Cider Boys, Peach County apple peach hard cider. It's good stuff, man. It'll make you call Austin Reeves Austin Rivers.
Pretty similar players.
What about a guy like CP3? Where's he going, man? Is he gonna shouldn't he retire?
I don't know, bro.
Nah, he ain't gonna retire, bro.
Is he in the same boat as a Kyle Lowry? Or would you say he's better than Kyle Lowry at this point?
I mean, I think he's still better than Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, I would say he's still better. I feel like
he's still better. Fit wise, where is he going?
Right, like a small guard. The Lakers is like.
Yeah, I was finna say maybe he just go there for the minimum. I mean,
every old star is going to the Lakers stuff. I say that as we get 34-year-old Paul George, hopefully, but it is just funny how that always works out. They tried that with Westbrook too. Buddy Hield is another interesting guy. Like, where does he end up? Does he come back to the Sixers?
I'm in on bringing Buddy Hield back. Like on the cheap. I'm fine with it.
I am. I'm interested. Like I was asking Slim earlier, like where does the value fall for like Gary Trent Jr. or like Buddy Hield?
I see that. I would take Gary Trent Jr. over Buddy Hield.
Right. But like from a price standpoint,
right?
Like how much variance is there? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I would take Gary Trent Jr. I think like he's probably up there for me, like as secondary free agent.
Gary Trent Jr. I want him so bad. Like I want Paul George to sign the max, and then like 10 minutes later, I want to see the Gary Trent Jr. in his fall.
Yeah,
that's
because like Maxey, Gary Trent Jr., Paul George, and then whoever you want to throw in at 4 with Embiid. I mean, that's
right. And I don't know. I don't know what Kelly's going to go for, dude.
I know. I don't know, like, how we can maneuver that.
I don't know what that sure. Looks like.
Yeah.
Can we move, like, Paul Reed, man? Can we trade him?
Well, this is 3 minutes. This is 3 minutes ago. Well, it's from Sixers Justin, but he said it's from Chris Haynes. I don't know when Chris Haynes said it, but
probably on TV.
Chris Haynes says Philadelphia is in the, quote, driver's seat to sign Paul George. The news is expected to come in a few hours. That was 3 minutes ago.
Oh, man.
Come on, man. Don't get Scotty hopes up.
Time out. In the comments, someone said that's a replay, man. He said, I'm aware. Was just tweeting out. That's what he said. So.
Okay, so that wasn't like recently.
Right.
So like not like within the last 5 minutes type shit.
If he said it then, I would assume that means like kind of soon. Like if it was then in a few hours, I would assume it's kind of soon then, right?
I would assume, man. Like, what are you waiting for?
I know.
You know, like what's the big big presentation? I mean, like
the way that this is set up, man, maybe they're just trying to like because the way this new CBA is set up, man, it's crazy, man.
They did. Now, there was that report. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. There was a report that came out that said if Paul George does decide to come to Philadelphia, it won't be alone. So maybe that's part of it, too, is like you're organizing with Paul George to figure out who will come with him. I don't know. I'm
Stop.
Just trying to be positive here.
I literally, like, how disgusted was I in this organization a month ago? Disgusted. Couldn't stand them at the moment. Yeah. And now, in my eyes, they have a successful draft night one. They answer the backup 5 question. They bring in the third. I'm still going to call him a star. I don't care. Paul George is still an all-star in this league.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a third star. And then
then
there's
all of a sudden,
room to bring in a couple more role pieces. God.
and all of a sudden, bro, like if you bring in Paul George, you already signed Andre Drummond. All of a sudden, it feels fine to bring back like Oubre, Kyle Lowry, all of those guys, like Campaign, even. Like, I'm fine with that. Like,
take last year's team and add Andre Drummond and Paul George.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what I can't wait for? I can't wait to argue with Knicks fans.
Paul George is unlikely to return to the Clippers.
Where'd that come from?
Or likely?
Unlikely.
All right.
Check out the Woj. He just tweeted it.
Wow.
You just gave me like a heart palpitation, dude.
Right. I thought it was a done deal.
Paul George likely to return to the Clippers.
Yeah, no.
The Sixers are front runners to land.
Yeah, ready? Here it is. The Clippers exit leaves the 76ers as strong front runners to land Paul George on a free agent deal. The Sixers contingent is set to meet with George in California tonight. Why haven't you met with them already?
Right. Why is it not done already? But maybe he's just like letting the Clippers know that he's not staying.
Yeah.
How are you guys feeling? Like, it feels like it might not get done for a little while. Like, I've got to go piss to be transparent here.
Maybe tomorrow,
guys. If it happens at like 9:30, we could reconvene.
Yeah, I would be down for that, honestly.
Yeah,
if it breaks within like an hour or so, I'd be down to hop back on if you guys are. We'll definitely be on tomorrow morning, but I mean, Slim, we can organize as well, man. When some of these like start to drop.
Well, especially for this pod with you guys, bro. Like once that happens, everything will start falling. So then it's just deals. So.
Yeah, so let's keep the airwaves open then. In that
last thing with PG, Magic are essentially out, can't afford a max.
Yeah.
Clippers not going above the 3 years that he wants.
Let's go, man.
And he's got to be with the Sixers, and that's it, brother. There's no one else.
Paul George, PG-13.
Unless like Josh Harris or Daryl Morey goes into that meeting and like calls his wife a bitch or something. I think okay.
I feel you, man. I feel you.
Like, where do Denver go from here? Like KCP, man. Like that's a huge piece, man. That's a huge piece.
You replace him. You gotta trade like Michael Porter Jr. It feels like.
Yeah, you got to.
Relying on young guys.
It's tough, man. I don't know. It's tough.
I'll say it one more time. 625 people. Go to the NBA to the Galaxy Pod YouTube channel. Subscribe. And go to the ESM Media Philadelphia YouTube channel. Subscribe. Please.
We go live later.
Free people. Don't tell me you don't use YouTube. It's where you can find all of our content.
Help us grow, man. Help us grow.
Yeah.
Then you'll find out once we go live later.
Because if you are trying to comment through Twitter, we're not ignoring you. We just can't see them. StreamYard doesn't let us see your comments. So that's why you can be interactive through the YouTube comments.
Yep. It's big facts, guys.
Quick math.
Slim, you want to get us out of here, my man?
Yeah, man. Make sure that you hit both Dylan and Scotty with, follows on X, formerly known as Twitter. And yeah, man, I mean, free agency, we made it, man. So, I mean, we'll see how this Paul George thing go or whatever. But depending on, like, breaking news, maybe me and Scotty will, set this thing back up sooner or however it goes. But
if it breaks within the next hour, if you're down, we'll be back.
Man. But make sure that you go subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free, man. Help us out. We literally, comment on the YouTube channel. Like, don't go through Twitter, bro. Like, but yeah, man, with that being said, if you got anything else to say, Scotty, you can say
No, man. I'll just I'll parrot my man Darius here and just say good luck to your Warriors, man. All seriousness. I know we troll each other all the time, but it's never fun when your team gets down in the dumps when you don't know what's gonna happen next. So hopefully some good things come your way, my man.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate that, man. We definitely going to need some type of look, but
no, we gotta. If we're gonna keep this show alive, we got to keep the Warriors alive. So
man.
No, I'm just kidding, but I do hope the best for you, as long as it don't affect PG coming to the Sixers.
No, man, that's done. But make sure, like I said, subscribe. And with that being said, we out. Peace.
Peace, everybody.